Miraculous day. Welcome, gang. How y'all feeling? I'm excited to let y'all know these are the last 2 episodes of the 50 Cent book, so tune in. We will be decoding the last chapter. And yeah, we did it, family. We did it together. Look how good is that. As this right here will change the way you look at things. And this has changed the way millions and millions of people has been looking at things. All you got to do, right, is go to YouTube, right? You go to YouTube and you type up Think and Grow Rich, full movie, and 2021 it should pop up. A young Napoleon Hill took it upon himself to study and interview the most wealthiest men and give it to us in this body of work. Hey man, shout out to Iron Mastery Academy. That's the academy that's teaching people how to learn and earn on the go, teaching people how to invest and be on the right side of money. Shout out to Doc Spills and all the educators over there that's teaching people, whether it's levels, colors, harmonics. We're simply teaching people how to learn and invest, and you can just match your colors. That's what we learned from day one. So get with me. That's at Read, Remember, Repeat, or at Big MUGGA. Those are my Instagrams. And let's get this money, family. Read, remember, repeat. And welcome back. What can I say for Miraculous Day again? And how y'all feeling? You know what I mean? Today's Monday, top of the morning, and peace from here to you. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, I hope this week is peaceful for you, man. I hope you guys have the best week this week and you get a lot done. 50 Cent Hustle Harder, Hustle Smart is the book that we're on right now. So if you're not paying attention, we're almost at the end. And, you know, tap in, man. Get in tune. All right. He and my aunt bought a bigger house and traded in a couple of their cars for something nicer. But that was it. All they did was upgrade. What they didn't do was quit their jobs. They didn't say, okay, we've made it, and try to go on one of those 20-year vacations. They were wise enough to understand that while the extra money was a blessing in a few years, it would be gone and they would have to keep living. It is very easy to run through $1 million in this country, and they did. Thankfully, they never quit their day jobs, so they're fine. With their strong sense of self-sufficiency, we've never run into some of the issues I've had with other members of this family. My aunt and my uncle are not looking to get anything from me, only give. It's been like that forever, even now. Aunt Geraldine still buys me socks for Christmas and tries to cook me a meal. I don't need the socks, and I've got a personal chef, but that's not the point. They just symbolize the love she has for me. She wanted to provide me to give me things since I was a little boy. She's the person who gave me the nickname Boo Boo. Might seem like a small thing, but to a kid who lost his mother, the term of endearment was very important. To this day, the people I'm closest to still know me as Boo Boo, and are the only ones who are allowed to call me that. My son Saya has brought that sort of positivity into my life too. Everything is in place for us to have a healthy and loving relationship. Whenever I see my little guy, it's nothing but happiness and excitement. He's not looking for a thing from me. He just wants to show me where his front teeth just fell out, or a picture he drew in school. There's nothing better than sitting on the couch watching TV and having him come into the room and without a word snuggle up next to me. He's not looking for a thing. No money, no favors, no handouts. He just wants to be close to his father. Being on the receiving end of that sort of unconditional love is something I'm not used to, but need to become better acquainted with. Giving back. I'll admit that there are times when I don't feel very charitable. If I walk down the street and see a guy with a funny sign and a cup begging for change, my immediate reaction might be, I don't feel the need to help this guy because his spirit is already broken. Whatever bill I put into his cup is not going to make the slightest difference. If someone has the ability to write something so humorous that it's going to make a calloused New Yorker reach into their pocket, then the person has talent. Unfortunately, he's only comfortable using that talent to ask for a handout instead of going out there and applying it in a more constructive or productive way. I don't want to support that. Over the years, however, I've come to understand that this attitude isn't always helpful. Yes, an individual would rather prey on people's sense of compassion and put in the work, but that doesn't mean there aren't many, many more people out there who really do have the work ethic and hustler's spirit I promote, yet have been caught in circumstances beyond their control. They do require some sort of help. Being in a position of abundance, I'm becoming more and more focused on using my money to help those kinds of people. When you've experienced success and validation over a sustained period of time, it allows you to take the focus off yourself a little and become more conscious of what's happening in different communities around you. The older I get, the less I'm impressed with people who amass money, and the more inspired I am by the people who are committed to giving it away. I never realized it before, but now I can see that the givers are going to be the ones with the strongest presence in their absence. When they're dead and gone, people are still going to speak about them in reverential tones. 50 years from now, people will remember Bill Gates more for the work he did supporting sustainable agriculture around the world than for whenever he figured out with computer chips. Just like the music mogul David Geffen isn't going to be remembered for making hit records, he'll be celebrated for his advances he supported in medical fields. Family, I'm gonna hit y'all with some sauce real quick. Y'all know what time it is. We'll be right back.
Now, Blue Laces 2, one of my favorite records on the album. You make a Spook Who Sat by the Door reference.
You know about that, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I read that book, but I don't think you a spook who sat by the door. I think your intentions are pretty clear.
Well, now I would say so, but even to the point we made earlier, that's one of the reasons I was so vocal about where I was coming from and what I represented, because I knew who I wanted to mobilize. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna name my last album "The Spook That Sat by the Door." You know what I mean? When I finished my situation with our partnership at Atlantic, and for anybody that ain't seen that book, seen that movie or read the book, it's about a gang member from Chicago who presented himself in a way he never caught no cases. He had a clean cut look, and he infiltrated the CIA.
Yep.
And he became educated and basically he used their agenda, which was to have a token nigga in the CIA for political reasons. You know, we gonna speak blunt, fuck it. He used it against him. And I think that in terms of hip hop, you think of the message that they embrace, I feel parallel with, like, you know what I mean, the power structure. I don't mean the culture of hip hop, but the power structure of music. They got prescribed personas they expect from us. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the way he used their intention against him was one of my underlying strategies. You know what I'm saying?
You got to put the medicine in the candy.
100%.
And what's interesting about that book, all his people used to call him Uncle Tom and a coon,
you know what I'm saying?
Sellout.
Yeah.
But he was there working for them the whole time.
Yeah, and he I don't want to go blow nothing up like he did in the movie, you know what I mean? But just in terms of being able to mobilize his homies.
We are back, team. Let's close this out strong. Warren Buffett may be incomprehensibly wealthy, but he's committed himself to donating 99% of his fortune to charities by the end of his days. He's been following that oath and has made philanthropy his new calling. Pushing other billionaires to do the same with the Giving Pledge, the examples made me become more conscious of my own legacy. I've had to ask myself, do I want to be mainly remembered as a person who sold a lot of records and made a lot of hit TV shows? At one point, the answer would have been hell yeah. I still value that experience, but now it's more important that I'm also thought of as someone who did something positive with the money he made. It's not enough anymore for me to say, well, I'm giving back by showing people that it's possible to go from the bottom to the top. I need to do even more. I'm committed to take the money, resources, and connections I've gained on the way to the top and invest them directly back into the bottom, so that the people living there might have an easier time making a similar choice. One of the first times I became really interested in the concept of philanthropy was after I traveled to Nigeria. I didn't know much about the country, but Heineken was paying me $4 million to do 4 shows. So of course I packed my bags and got on the plane. One of the first nights there, I was chilling in my hotel room in Lagos and ordered from room service. The hotel brought all this food into my suite, and I was about to dig in when I noticed the chicken wasn't deveined. Something about that made me queasy. My appetite was spoiled, and I wanted to get out of the room and into some fresh air. Suddenly, an idea popped into my head. I told my road manager, Barry, to grab $15,000 out of our per diem money, put it in a bag, and get in the car. Ready. Once Barry had the cash, I met him downstairs, got in the car, and told the driver, just take us to the hood. I have definitely seen some rough neighborhoods before, but I never seen anything as harsh as the neighborhood the driver took us to. Forget about housing projects where the elevators smell like piss. These people were living in little huts made out of sheets of corrugated metal. No AC, no windows, no running water. If that wasn't bad enough, there was a river of piss and shit running in front of the huts. The Baisley projects in Queens looked like the Four Seasons compared to what these people were living in. As we were driving, I also noticed that people were carrying on their heads anything heavy they needed to transport. If someone had a 30-pound package they needed to get across town, they weren't calling FedEx, they were getting it up on the top of their domes and walking it across town that way. The sight really blew my mind. At one point, we had to slow down because the street wasn't anything more than muddy alleys. I took some money out of the bag, rolled down the window, and started handing out hundreds. People who came up to the car. Once the folks in the hood realized that was happening, the energy was ridiculous. More kinetic than at any concert I've ever performed at. This was a country where picking up an extra $40 might change your life for the next few months. And I was handing out Ben Franklin's like candy at Halloween. Word began to spread that I was throwing money, and by that time I got back to the hotel, there were probably 3,000 or 4,000 people waiting for me. The scene was insane. Even after all the money was gone, people just wanted to touch me. Not in a negative or threatening way either. They just wanted to share the energy they were feeling with me. One guy pulled my do-rag off my head so fast that it didn't even knock my baseball cap off. It was incredible. My actions ended up causing such a disturbance that we had to cancel the final show of the tour and go home. There were just too many people trying to show up and see if I was going to throw some money their way. It felt great to know that I had helped so many people in a short amount of time. But I also realized that driving around the slums throwing bills wasn't the smartest or most effective way to use my money to help people. I needed a better plan. Family, with that one right there, we're going to end it. Know what I mean? We almost done with the book, so I need y'all to tune in. We on the Give Back. That's the last chapter. And you already know. Read, remember, repeat. Gang.
Know what I finna do. Put it on the wall and laugh about how we did it too. I'm praying all the good for you. But dog, I don't really
the best time of the year is here. Christmas is here. Go get you a grateful book. I just put out a book, family. I'm an author. Followed with a journal for 365 days of your writing experience. I hope you guys have a grateful experience.
Most of shit is taken from us. It ain't additional. No broken bones, but this medicinal loud. I get the feeling that you wishing you could go get it now. Everybody that's around start to look like a crowd.